The most dangerous weapon in modern warfare is not a missile. It is not a drone. It is a job offer. Consider the scene. A senior engineer, brilliant, highly paid, sitting in the safety of his home. He believes he is negotiating a salary package for a new role. He feels valued. He feels ambitious. He downloads the offer letter to read the details. That is the moment the gun went off. In the silence of that room, with that single, casual mouse click, he didn't just open a PDF. He opened the back door to a $620 million vault. He didn't know that the recruiters speaking to him were actually ghost operatives from the Lazarus Group, the world's most feared state-sponsored hacking syndicate. There was no job. There was no salary. There was only a trap, meticulously designed to exploit human greed. How does a digital empire built on complex cryptography fall apart because of one fake document? To truly understand the gravity of this theft, we must first look at the victim. In early 2022, Sky Mavis was not just a technology company. They were the architects of a digital revolution. Their creation, Axie Infinity, was a global phenomenon. A play-to-earn ecosystem where people in developing nations were buying houses with the money they made playing a video game. It was a towering financial structure, holding billions of dollars in cryptocurrency within its Ronin network bridge. To the outside world, it looked like an impregnable fortress of code and cryptography. But to the eyes watching from the shadows, a fortress is only as strong as the people guarding the gate. The entity watching them was the Lazarus Group. They are an elite cyber warfare unit, funded, trained, and protected by a state government. They operate with the discipline of a military battalion and the patience of a sniper. For years, they have targeted banks, cryptocurrency exchanges, and even movie studios, funneling stolen billions back into their country's weapons programs. When they looked at Sky Mavis, they didn't see a game. They saw a bank vault with the door slightly ajar. However, the Lazarus operatives faced a problem. The Ronin bridge was technically sound. The encryption was world-class. A direct assault on the code would likely trigger alarms and fail. So, they changed their strategy. If you cannot hack the machine, you hack the human. They initiated a campaign of aggressive and meticulous social engineering. This is the art of manipulating people into giving up confidential information. Not through force, but through trust and deception. The operation began months before the theft. It started quietly on LinkedIn. Operatives created fake profiles for a fictitious company, posing as legitimate headhunters. They didn't just send spam. They built a believable reality. They approached multiple employees at Sky Mavis, engaging them in professional conversations. They were polite, they were knowledgeable, and they were persistent. They played on the natural human desire for career advancement. They eventually hooked a senior engineer. This wasn't a careless intern. This was a highly intelligent, capable professional. But intelligence is no defense against vanity. The hackers put him through multiple rounds of fake interviews. They conducted technical screenings. They flattered his ego and validated his skills. They made him feel chosen. By the time they offered him the job with an astronomical salary package, his guard was completely down. He wasn't suspicious. He was ecstatic. He believed he had earned a life-changing opportunity. In reality, he was being groomed for the slaughter. The hackers had spent weeks building a psychological bridge to him, just so they could burn down the real bridge behind him. The moment the engineer clicked that PDF, the trap snapped shut. But it wasn't an explosion. It was a silent injection. The file contained a sophisticated spyware payload, a digital parasite that instantly burrowed deep into the Sky Mavis internal network. It didn't announce itself. It didn't crash the system. It simply watched, waited, and listened. This is what cybersecurity experts call lateral movement. The hackers were now inside the castle walls, moving invisibly from room to room, looking for the keys to the kingdom. Their target was specific, the validator nodes. To understand the brilliance of this attack, You have to understand how the Ronin network was secured. It relied on 9 validator nodes to approve transactions. To withdraw money, you needed the digital signatures of at least 5 of these 9 validators. It was designed to be decentralized, a system where no single person held the power. But the hackers found a way to centralize it. Through the compromised engineer's access, they managed to seize control of 4 Sky Mavis validators. They were close, but they were still 1 key short. They had 4 keys. They needed 5. The vault was still locked. Then, they found the loose thread that would unravel everything. Months earlier, during a period of immense user traffic, Sky Mavis had asked the Axie DAO, a separate community body, for temporary permission to sign transactions on their behalf to help handle the load. It was a temporary fix, a shortcut taken for the sake of efficiency. But once the traffic subsided, Sky Mavis failed to revoke this permission. They left the back door unlocked. The hackers, prowling through the code, discovered this forgotten access point. They now had the 5th key. On March 23rd, the command was executed. The Lazarus Group used their 5 stolen signatures to authorize a withdrawal. But this wasn't a withdrawal. It was an evacuation. In 2 massive transactions, they drained 173,600 Ethereum and 25.5 million USDC. $620 million moved across the blockchain, and nobody noticed. This is the most terrifying part of the story. For a heist of this magnitude, usually, the alarms are immediate. Phones ring in the middle of the night. Servers are shut down. But at Sky Mavis, there was only silence. The hackers had manipulated the very systems that were supposed to report suspicious activity. For 6 long days, the hackers were gone, likely celebrating, while the engineers at Sky Mavis went to work, attended meetings, and wrote code, completely unaware that their treasury was empty. It didn't come from a police investigation. It came from a user. On March 29th, almost a week after the theft, a regular player tried to withdraw 5,000 Ethereum from the bridge. The transaction failed. He tried again, failed. Confused and frustrated, he filed a support ticket. That ticket was the spark that lit the fuse. The support team escalated the issue to the engineers. The engineers checked the bridge. They looked at the liquidity pools. They expected to see a technical glitch, a database error. Instead, they saw a 0. Panic is a slow creeping realization in the world of IT. At first, there is denial. Check the backup nodes, someone surely said. Refresh the cache. But as they traced the blockchain history, the cold reality set in. They saw the outflow. They saw the wallet addresses. They saw the date, March 23rd. The money hadn't just gone missing. It had been stolen 6 days ago. The chaotic scene that followed inside Sky Mavis can only be imagined. The company went into immediate lockdown. They halted the bridge, freezing all assets to stop any further bleeding, though there was little blood left to lose. They called in Chainalysis, the world's leading blockchain investigators. They contacted law enforcement. The FBI stepped in. The investigation quickly turned from a technical debugging session into an international manhunt. Investigators traced the digital footprints left by the stolen funds. The blockchain is immutable. It records every move. But Lazarus knows this. They began to wash the money. They moved the stolen Ethereum through Tornado Cash, a decentralized mixing service designed to obliterate the trail of funds. They split the money into thousands of smaller wallets, creating a chaotic web of transactions meant to confuse and exhaust the investigators. As the news broke to the public, the impact was catastrophic. The economy of Axie Infinity crashed overnight. Players who relied on the game for their livelihood saw their assets frozen, their trust shattered. The community was in an uproar, but behind the scenes, the investigators were piecing together the narrative. They linked the malware from the fake job offer to the specific IP addresses used to control the validators. They matched the behavioral patterns of the money laundering to previous attacks on Sony and the Bangladesh bank. The fingerprints were digital, but they were distinct. This wasn't a random criminal. This was North Korea. The United States government officially linked the wallet addresses to the Lazarus Group. The verdict was in. The world's most popular crypto game had been brought to its knees not by a flaw in the blockchain, but by a PDF file and a moment of human weakness. In a traditional heist, the story ends with handcuffs. Sirens wail, the police raid the hideout, and the criminals are dragged away to face a judge. But in the world of state-sponsored cyber warfare, justice is a ghost. There were no arrests. There was no raid. The perpetrators were thousands of miles away, safe within the borders of a nation that does not extradite its citizens, North Korea. On April 14, 2022, the Federal Bureau of Investigation delivered their verdict. In a terse, chilling press release, they confirmed what the security researchers had suspected. The wallet addresses holding the stolen fortune were directly linked to the Lazarus Group. The implications were terrifying. This wasn't just about stolen video game money. The United States Treasury Department revealed that these funds were likely being funneled into North Korea's strategic military programs. The money lost by teenagers playing a game in the Philippines was potentially funding ballistic missile tests on the other side of the world. The innocence of the play-to-earn dream had collided violently with the harsh reality of nuclear proliferation. For Sky Mavis, the verdict was of a different kind. They stood trial in the court of public opinion. The community was furious. How could a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem rely on a security setup that could be toppled by a single PDF? The trust, the most valuable currency in crypto, had evaporated. But the story didn't end in total defeat. In a remarkable turn of events, the investigation shifted into a recovery mission. It became a high-stakes game of digital tug-of-war. The U.S. government sanctioned the Tornado Cash mixing service, effectively trying to burn down the hackers' getaway car. Exchanges blacklisted the stolen funds. The hackers were holding a bag of marked bills. Every time they tried to cash out, the world was watching. 5 months later, a small victory emerged from the chaos. With the help of white-hat hackers and law enforcement, about $30 million of the stolen funds were seized and recovered. It was a drop in the ocean compared to the $620 million lost, but it proved a point. Even the Lazarus Group is not untouchable. Meanwhile, Sky Mavis made a desperate, honorable move to save their users. They didn't declare bankruptcy. They didn't run. They raised $150 million from investors and dipped into their own balance sheet to reimburse the victims. They promised to make everyone whole. It was a move that saved the company from extinction, a plea bargain with their own community to allow them to survive. The legal fallout continues to this day. Sanctions have tightened. The rules of DeFi have been rewritten, but the thieves remain at large, likely sitting in the same office, on the same computers, perhaps already drafting their next phishing email, looking for the next engineer, the next open door, the next click. As the dust settles on the Ronin bridge hack, we are left with a haunting silence. The money has been largely laundered. The headlines have faded. The Ronin network has been rebuilt, stronger, fortified. A digital fortress now guarded by paranoia rather than optimism. But what of the human element? Somewhere, there is an engineer who has to live with the knowledge that his ambition was weaponized. He is the unnamed protagonist of this tragedy. He didn't steal the money, yet his fingerprint is on the trigger. His story serves as a brutal reminder that in the digital age, the greatest vulnerability is not in the code we write, but in the minds we possess. We are social creatures. We trust. We want to believe in better opportunities, and that is exactly what makes us targetable. The Lazarus Group didn't need a supercomputer to break the economy of Axie Infinity. They just needed a PDF file and a good story. So, the next time you open your email, the next time you see a file attached to a message that looks just a little too good to be true, pause. Look at the cursor on your screen. That small, blinking arrow is the most powerful tool in the world. It can build empires, and as we have seen, it can destroy them. The question is, when they send the next invite, will you click?